there, my name is Jerome Bayani from BSIT 2105, and for today's video is all about summarization of chapter 2 in CCNA 1, so let's get going. A network operating system enables device hardware to function and provides an interface for user to interact. In CCNA course of study, students learn to configure both devices that connect to the network and devices that connect network together. Learning to configure the Cisco Interwork operating system or the Cisco IOS on Cisco routers and switches is a large part of the Cisco CCNA program of study. So, there are operating system which means all end devices and network device required an operating system. The version of the OS that interfaces directly with computer hardware is known as the kernel, and the application version that interface are called the shell. The user can interact with the shell using a command line interface or the CLI or a graphical user interface or the GUI. So purpose of OS in network operating system are similar to a PC operating system. Through a GUI, a PC operating system enables a user to use a mouse to make selection and run programs, enter text and text-based commands, and view output on a monitor. A CLI-based network operating system is like the Cisco IOS on the switch or router enables a network technician to use a keyboard to run CLI-based network programs. Use a keyboard to enter text and text-based command and view output on a monitor. Access method in Cisco IOS switch can be implemented with no configuration and still switch data between connected devices. By connecting two PCs to a switch, those PCs will instantly have connectivity with one another. So these are the console, secure shell, and the telnet. Terminal emulation program. There are numbers of excellent terminal emulation program available for connecting to a network device either by a serial connection over a console port or by a SSH telnet connection. Some of these includes PuTTY, TerraTerm, Secure CRT, OSX Terminal. This program allows you to enhance your productivity by adjusting window size, changing font size, and changing color scheme. So let's go on now with the primary command modes. So these are the user exec mode and the privilege exec mode. User exec mode is the mode has limited capabilities but is useful for basic operation, while in privilege exec mode is to execute configuration command. A network administrator must access privilege exec mode for higher configuration modes like global configuration modes can reach be from privilege exec mode. The privilege exec mode can be identified with the prompt ending with the hash symbol. Configuration command modes. So, to configure the device, the user must enter global configuration mode, which is commonly called global config mode. From global config mode, CLI configuration changes are made that affects the operation of the device as a whole. Global configuration mode is accessed before other specific configuration modes, and from this config mode, the user can enter different sub-configuration mode. Each of these modes allows the configuration of a particular part or function of the iOS device, eh, which have two common sub-configuration modes include line configuration mode, so this is used to configure console, SSH, telnet, or iOS access. And the other one is the interface configuration mode. So this used to configure a switch port or router network interface. So various commands are used to move in and out of command prompt. To move from user exec mode to privilege exec mode, use enable command. Use the disable privilege exec mode command to return to user exec mode. So privilege exec mode is sometimes called enable mode. To move in and out of global configuration mode, use the configure terminal privilege exec mode command. To return the privilege exec mode, enter the exit global config mode command. There are many different sub-configuration mode. So, for example, to enter line sub-configuration mode, you use the line command followed by the management line type and number you wish to access. To exit a sub-configuration mode and return to global configuration mode, use the exit command. Notice the changes in the command prompt. To move from any sub-configuration mode to the privilege exec mode, enter the end command or enter the key command Ctrl Z. You can also move directly from one sub-configuration mode to another, so you notice how after selecting an interface, the command prompt changes from config line hash to config if hash. iOS command syntax. A command might require one or more arguments. To determine the keyword and arguments required for a command, refer to the command syntax. The syntax provides the pattern or format that must be used when entering a command. For instance, the syntax for using this description command in description string. The argument is a string value provided by the user. The description command is typically used to identify the purpose of the interface. For example, entering the command description connect to the main headquarters office switch. Describe where the other device is at the end of the connection. iOS help features. So the iOS has two forms of help available: context-sensitive help and the command syntax check. Context-sensitive help enable you to quickly find which commands are available in each command mode. And command syntax check verifies that a valid command was entered by the user. So there are hotkeys and shortcuts. The iOS CLI provides hotkeys and shortcuts that makes configuring, monitoring, and troubleshooting easier as shown. Command and keyword can be shortened to the minimum number of characters and identify a unique selection. So CLI hotkeys and shortcuts. So CLI line editing. So these are tab. This key complete a partial commanding entry. The backspace erase the character to the left of the cursor. Control D erase the character of the cursor. Control K erase all character from the cursor to the end of the command line. Escape D erase all character from the cursor to the end of the word. So at the more prompt, so enter key displayed the next line, spacebar displayed the next screen. Any key so ends the displayed string, returning to privilege exec mode. Break keys, these are Control C. So when in any configuration mode, ends configuration mode, and return to privilege exec mode when it set up mode abort back to the command. So, configure password. The most important password to configure in access to privilege exec mode. To secure the user exec mode, the console port must be configured. Enter line console configuration mode using the line console 0 global configuration command. The 0 is used to represent the first console interface. Next, especially the user exec mode password using the um, password command. Finally, enable user exec access using the login command. Console access will now require a password before gaining access to the user exec mode. So the virtual terminal BTY line enable remote access to the device. To secure BTY line, use the SSH and telnet. Enter the line BTY mode using the line BTY. So to hide those passwords that you indicated on your console or in your switch, so just encrypt those passwords using the service password encryption in global config command. So this will help encrypt your password and hide it to unauthorized person to enter your console. So use the show running config command to verify that passwords are now encrypted. Use the syntax checker in the configure to practice encrypting password. So the other one to secure your or help your console to be secure is adding a banner message. So to create banner message or banner message of the day on the network device, use the banner MOTD hashtag. The message of the day hashtag global config command. The hashtag is the command syntax is called the limiting character. It is entered before and after the message. The delimiting character can be any character as long as it does not occur in the message. So to save the running configuration file, so there are two system files that store the device configuration, startup config and the running config. So the startup config, the file stored is non-volatile random access memory or the NVRAM that contains all of the command that will be used by the device upon starting or reboot. Running config, the file stored in random access memory or the RAM that reflects the current configuration, modifying a running configuration after the operation of the Cisco device immediately. So alter the running configuration if changes made to the running configuration do not have the desired effect and the running config file not yet been saved. So you can restore the device to its previous configuration by removing the changes command individually or reload the device using the reload privilege exec mode command to restore the startup config. Capture configuration to a text file. Configuration file can also be saved and archived to text document. This sequence of steps ensure a working copy of configuration file is available for editing or reuse later. Interface and port. Network communication depends on end user device interface, networking device interfaces, and the cable that connect them. Each physical interface has specification or standard that define it. Manual IP address configuration for end devices. In order for an end device to communicate over the network, it must be configured with a unique IPv4 address and subnet mask. To manually configure an IPv4 address on a Windows host, open the control panel, go to Network Sharing Center, change the adapter settings, and choose the adapter. Next, right-click Next Properties to display the local area connection properties. Switch virtual interface configuration to access the switch remotely. An IP address and a subnet mask must be configured on the SBI. To configure an SBI on a switch, use the interface VLAN 1 global configuration command. VLAN 1 is not an actual physical interface but a virtual one. Next, assign an IPv4 address using IP address and address subnet mask interface configuration commands. Finally, enable the virtual interface using the no shutdown command interface configuration command. Interface addressing verification in the same way that you use command and utilities like ipconfig to verify a PC host network. Configuration, you also use command to verify the interface and address setting of immediately device like switches and routers. So, end-to-end connectivity test, the ping command can be used to test connectivity to and another device on the network or a website on the internet. So the service provided by the Cisco iOS and access using a command line interface CLI, which is accessed by either has console port, the IUX port, or through SSH or Telnet. After connected to the CLI network, technician can make configuration changes to Cisco iOS devices. The Cisco iOS is designed as a model operating system, which means a network technician must navigate through various what you call that hier- hierarchical modes of the iOS. So that is my summary of chapter 2. I hope you like it. So thanks for watching. Bye.